course, I guess we don't have anybody in the nursery tonight, so I didn't have to mute it.
No.
See, a couple weeks ago I found out that somehow the way we had everything set, my microphone was running into the nursery the whole time. That's why the babies were crying during the song service, because they could hear me sing. So, the sound guys can only do so much for me. You know, there's not a whole lot they can do. We're going to take, if you've got a Bible with you, take it. We are going to go right back to Psalm 95. We've kind of picked all this to flow well together. And we want to talk about Thanksgiving. And one of the things that happens when you've been preaching for a while, and I don't mean how y'all feel about 11:15 on Sunday morning when it feels like I've been preaching for a while. I mean, after you've done this for several years, you start getting blurry as to which year you preached which thing and who you told what. There, you know, you can go a couple of years and think, why doesn't anybody know this in the church I'm in? Because, well, you told it in the last church, you didn't tell it in this church. And I can't remember between Sunday morning and Wednesday night what I've told everybody. But Thanksgiving, as we come to celebrate Thanksgiving,
Those holidays, if we don't stop to think about, we can get kind of confused. For example, we sometimes wonder, and I remember wondering this as a kid when I lived in the Philippines, why it wasn't a big deal. Thanksgiving wasn't a holiday in the Philippines. Parents had to explain to me, it's an American holiday. This is not a holiday that you celebrate in that many other places, and the other nations that celebrate or have a National Day of Thankfulness, like Canada, it's at a different time. Anybody know when Canadian Thanksgiving is? When? Columbus Day. It's Columbus Day. It's the second Monday in October is Canadian Thanksgiving. That's when they celebrate. Now, Thanksgiving traditionally has been held as a celebration of the harvest. And if you haven't tried to grow stuff or don't know farmers, you may not realize one reason why Canada's Thanksgiving is earlier than ours. It's because crop growing seasons are different. The farther north you get, the earlier stuff has to come out of the ground. You've got to beat the frost. But not everybody stops and does this. And in fact, as a nation, we didn't stop and celebrate a day of Thanksgiving officially as a country until the Civil War. And then it kind of went away for a while. Then it was brought back during the World Wars. And then it has stuck around as a national holiday. So it's not something that we've done ever since the Pilgrims came off the Mayflower. And in fact, while they did this a couple of times, they didn't make it an ongoing celebration. And in fact, they left no written records of the first Thanksgiving. You say, wait a minute, didn't they eat turkey and dressing and creamed corn and macaroni and cheese and rolls and pumpkin pie? No, that's what some of us ate before church tonight. That's what some of y'all will eat Thursday. They didn't leave us a list of anything. Now we can kind of guess at based on what was available in Massachusetts, what they may have eaten. Probably deer was involved. Possibly some wild turkeys, seafood, various items like that are involved, but we don't have any actual records. What we know is this: the people that founded the Plymouth colony in 1620, their beliefs, their religious beliefs, they didn't celebrate much of anything. They were very severe individuals. And I don't mean they were very severe individuals like, you know, grumpy old men who walk around and say, hey, shouldn't you have a necktie on? And I don't mean those folks that come around and say, wait a minute, you know, your hair's too long. I mean, they were very severe about everything. They were just serious. They didn't participate in things like, they didn't go to the theater because they believed not only was it a waste of time, but it involved deception, which was lying and was therefore ungodly. So they didn't go to plays. They also didn't participate in any other holidays at all. That was just not something that they did. The only thing that they recognized as a holiday was when it was declared that the community would have a day of Thanksgiving. Now, if it wasn't a Thanksgiving day and it wasn't Sunday, everybody got up early, worked hard all day, dropped into bed exhausted at night, and then got up the next day and did it again. But if it was Thanksgiving Day, if it was a day to celebrate and give thanks, and they could declare those for anything. If it rained for a week and the sun finally came out, if they decided they wanted to, they could declare a day of Thanksgiving. And then when they had a day of Thanksgiving, they slept late, ate whatever excess they had, and had a relaxed day where they kind of goofed off. But for the first couple of years that they were in this country, they didn't find a whole lot to be thankful for, because they weren't where they planned to be. They weren't part of the colony they intended to be a part of. They were having trouble getting food to grow out of the ground. They were arguing with each other. They had illnesses to deal with. It was colder in the winter than they had expected. They had a lot of things that went wrong. And so now, to anchor our celebration of Thanksgiving, we look back at their original ones. Because one thing that pulls us together in times of difficulty is stopping to think about what we have to be thankful for. And so with that, we're going to look back at Psalm 95, where we started. Oh, come, let us sing for joy to the Lord. Let us shout joyfully to the rock of our salvation. Let us sing joyfully to the Lord. Let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation. Some of you are afraid to make noise because you're afraid it won't be pretty. But one of the things you got to look at in Scripture is the fact that it doesn't always say that you're supposed to sing. It just says to make a noise. Let it be about where your heart is first. So go ahead and sing out, be noisy, even if you're not exactly on pitch, because you know what? That's what I do, and that's just what happens. But let us sing to the Lord. As we give thanks, as we begin to address our thankfulness, there are people that we need to be thankful for the things that they do for us. Kids, you ought to be thankful to your parents. Why? Because they put a roof over your head and food in your plates. Parents, you ought to be thankful to the other parents that are there to help and give you hugs when your children are causing you problems. There are a lot of people that we ought to be thankful to. But beyond that, our first point of thanks is thankfulness to the Lord for God bringing us through this. Whatever it may be. First of all, He made us a world to live in. And we could rattle through all the amazing things about this planet that we live on. All the interesting things about the way that this earth has been created. Did you know that oxygen is toxic to a lot of things? But you can't live without it. You know that if it weren't for plants breathing in carbon dioxide and putting out oxygen, we wouldn't live. And if it weren't for animals breathing in oxygen and putting out carbon dioxide, the plants wouldn't live. It's like God has a plan for all of that. The gravity is just right. If the gravity was any stronger on this planet, your bones wouldn't be strong enough to hold you up. If it was any weaker, the next time you trip walking down the street, you wouldn't hit the ground until you got to the next county. If the gravity was any weaker, we'd have problems with it. Gravity is part of what holds the air around you to be able to breathe. If it was any weaker, we'd start losing our atmosphere. We wouldn't be able to breathe. So God made us a planet that works really nicely. Not too hot, not too cold. Unless you live in Texas. Then it gets too hot and too cold. Uplift there. I've been there when it's been both. So we ought to be thankful, first of all, and sing for joy to the Lord. The Lord God who has made us and given us this. Let us come before His presence with thanksgiving. So many times we come before God and we want to ask for stuff. Lord, I want this and I want that. And then sometimes we dress it up and we try to be a little more churchy and a little more spiritual and start rattling off. Well, Lord, I don't want stuff for me, but let me ask for stuff for somebody else. And if you had a human friend that you treated that way, or if you had human friends who treated you that way, you wouldn't care for it. If every time you went and saw a friend of yours, every time you said you always had a request, well, I need something for this person or for that person, guess what your friend would start doing? As soon as they saw you coming, they'd, pull out their phone, they'd be on the phone. Y'all ever get that from somebody? Like, wait a minute, I'm standing right here in front of him. But the Lord, even though we come before him selfishly, never gives us the one finger, let me finish my phone call for a minute look. And in fact, never shuts us down, never turns and walks the other way. Even though what we frequently do is come to him constantly asking as if he's our worker, he's our employee that ought to be doing for us. It just tells us we ought to come before him with thanksgiving, listing off the things. Lord, thank you for this. I made it through today. Thank you for the fact that you made cows yummy and so therefore beef is good. Thank you that you made turkeys to be domesticated so they can be raised in a farm and we didn't have to send Joel out to hunt one down. So why do you always pick on me? You're right there in a bright yellow shirt. Transmit. All the things that God's provided for us that we can be thankful for. And we ought to open with that in our prayers. We ought to open with that in our relationship with him. And let me extend that for you a step. With the people around you, try opening with thankfulness every time you see somebody. Say, wait, what? Find something to look at a person and tell them you're thankful for about them, or say thank you to them the first time you see them every day, or every time you see them. You see them sporadically. Now, if you're like in this office and they're in that office, and every time you go to get a cup of coffee, you might be able to dial it down a little bit. But find a way to do that every time. Husbands and wives, you want to know something that will revolutionize how you interact with your spouse? Every day, make sure you find 5 things about your spouse to tell them thank you for. Kids, you want your parents to be a little smoother with you? Find 5 honest things that you can say thank you for to them every day. Parents, you want to see your kids act really weird? Start thanking them for the things that they do. I know you've got to teach them to fold the towels the right way, but say thank you for the fact they even tried. Find things about them to express that you're grateful for. Y'all want to see things change in the church? Come in the door looking for things and people to be thankful for. Things that have happened, stuff that people have done, or just individual people that you're able to look at and say, I'm thankful that you're here today. Start with that. Come in Sunday morning looking for opportunities to verbalize your gratitude. Watch what happens. Watch who wants to talk to you at that point. Watch the ways that changes us. But come before the presence of the Lord with thanksgiving. Not with whining. Not with complaining. With thanksgiving. Let us shout joyfully to him with songs. Let us make a joyful noise to him with songs of praise. Thanksgiving is not a quiet, at-home event. There are lots of things in life that deserve to be quiet, at-home events. Birthdays, anniversaries, Christmas, Easter, Groundhog Day, Valentine's Day. All sorts of other things deserve to be, this needs to be something quiet. I really don't want to make a big deal out of this. Okay, maybe you're right, Olivia. Groundhog Day, we should make a big deal. All these other things we may or may not need to make a big deal out of, but Thanksgiving is never something that's done quietly. Because it has to be expressed. It needs to come out. Not that it draws attention to you, but that it points folks to who you're thankful to and what you're thankful for. Because none of this is quiet. We're singing, we're making a joyful noise, we're shouting joyfully. Let's shout joyfully. Those of you social media addicts, we know who we are. But you're on Facebook and Instagram and Teddy Grahams and whatever else all week long. Twitter and Liner and all those other things. Y'all are all on them. Don't give me that. Y'all are on them constantly. Use it for something useful for a change. Use it to shout joyfully to everybody what you're thankful for and who you're thankful for and who you're thankful to. You may not have a cute, perfect turkey graphic to put with it. You may not have a threatening-looking turkey graphic to put with it. Anybody that got the leadership team email knows what that one looks like. An angry-looking turkey. But shout joyfully. While we are free to do so, let us do this. For the Lord is a great God, a great King above all gods. All the things that we think are important, Thursday we'll think all these things are important. Get the newspaper so we know where to go shop bright and early Friday morning. Get on the internet to go ahead and shop Thursday so you don't have to get out in the madness on Friday morning. Sleeping and not even bothering with it because you already got more stuff than you need anyway. Some of y'all are going, no, preacher, we're done now. We're done. All these things that we think are more important. Getting out in the woods so that we can kill one more deer. All these things that we think are more important. Hey, wait a minute. Dinner's running late. Let's make sure we turn the TV so we can watch the game. There will be games and there will be games. And let me tell you something amazing. I have finally learned this after 25 years of sports watching. 30 years, anyway. A lot of years of watching sports. No matter how loud I yell at the television, they're going to do what they're going to do. Three up the middle and get the kick block. I mean, that's what's going to happen. I can yell at the referees. I can throw my glasses at the screen. And you know what? That guy's still not going to call that strike, even though he ought to. It doesn't matter. I can yell, I can encourage. The Hogs win, the Hogs lose, whether I watch them or not. The Cowboys lose, whether I watch them or not. I used to love the Cowboys. I dropped that somewhere along the way. But that opportunity you have to sit around the table with your family, with your friends, whoever you get to be around, that comes one time. And in the Sports Center era, every decent play you get a replay of. But you'll never get those moments back with your family. Don't miss them for that. Don't exalt those things above what God has provided for you. The Lord is a great God, a great King above all gods, and He's given us each other to celebrate and enjoy, spend time with. Come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before the Lord, our Maker. At the very least, we can be thankful for the fact that God put us together the way that we are. He is the Maker that we celebrate. He is our God. We are the people of His pasture and the sheep of His hand. We have things that we know how to do. Roam around, eat, go meh at each other. He provides and guides the things that we need. And so as we talk about what we're thankful for this week, let's remember this. To be thankful that God is our King. He's not our governor. He's not our president. He's not our advisor. He's the one who already knows what needs to be done. He's able to tell us what we ought to do. Guide and provide and protect. Provide for us the mercy that we need, because there will be so many ways this year that we'll be able to look back and say, well, I did that wrong, and I made that mistake, and ooh, this could have gone even more wrong than I thought it did. And God in His mercy protects us from those things. And so as you go and make a joyful noise of thanksgiving, let it be that we're thankful for our God and King that we're able to serve, and whose mercy protects us. Because the Lord our God is a great God, and His love endures forever. And for that, we ought to make a huge and joyful shout. Pray with me. Father, thank you for this day. Thank you that we can be here. Thank you, Lord God, for your love, your grace, your mercy. Thank you for the opportunity we have to be in this place. Thank you for the freedom that we have in this country to go where we want, do what we want. Pray, Lord God, that you will help us this week to celebrate your blessings well and in a way that honors you. We pray that you give us safety as we travel. As folks travel here, there, and everywhere in the coming week, we pray, Lord, that you'll give them safety to get where they need to go and back from. And ask, Lord God, to guide us and protect us as we do this when we pray. Amen. Thank you all very much for being here. We will see you on Sunday morning.